Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And I'm so excited that the timing has worked out the way it has and that I get to share my Jesus journey with you guys the night before Thanksgiving. It's just so beautiful, and apropos that I get to do that because I'm feeling very thankful for so many different things right now in my life. And one of them is you guys. Uh, just so grateful to God that you are all here and that you all decided to take a leap of faith and to join Cal Heal. And I know that that was probably kind of scary to jump into something that is completely unknown. And I just pray that you're all making really good connections and feeling connected and feeling like you're getting closer and closer to Jesus, because literally that is why you're here. So I hope that you feel like that's happening. And this is my Jesus journey. I wrote it down. It's easier for me that way. Imagine having a state-of-the-art telescope in your very own backyard. You place your eye on the lens and correct the focus. Suddenly, your eye has surpassed its natural ability to see in its normal range. With this sophisticated machinery and its unparalleled engineering, you have the capability to see deep into the heavens. Your mind is blown as you explore the vast and expansive beauty of the universe. Now imagine that you walk into your backyard at night to have the same experience. Only this time you approach your state-of-the-art telescope, then stop in your tracks and just stare at it. You continue to stare at it for quite some time, but nothing happens. Your experience is a dramatically different one simply because of one thing. You didn't place your eye on the lens. This analogy is one of my favorite when it comes to the Bible. The Bible is very much like a sophisticated telescope. If you open it, you will have the supernatural ability to see beyond this earth, beyond this world, and into the heavens. A sacred window into things unknown, an eye that is able to perceive things that are timeless mysteries. But if we don't open the Bible and instead choose to stare at it, we will see nothing but a book. Nothing else. I admit that I've not been a perfect Christian. Of course, there's no such thing as a perfect Christian. And if there were, I would most definitely be decorated with badges from the failing Christian Academy. I'm certainly not proud of this, but it's just the plain truth. Without getting into too much detail, even after accepting Jesus as my Lord and Savior, I have done things that have made me cringe, have made me sigh, and roll my eyeballs into the back of my head. I often ask myself questions like, how in the world did I backslide like that? And questions like, am I really saved? Or have I just convinced myself that I'm saved? Then I look through my telescope and I read these words. Since then, we have a great high priest who has passed through the heavens, Jesus, the Son of God. Let us hold fast our confession, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses. Sorry, that's wrong. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who in every respect has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us then, with confidence, draw near to the throne of grace, that we may receive mercy and find grace to help in our time of need. Hebrews 4:14-16. You see, all our natural intuition tells us that Jesus is with us on our side, present and helping when life is going well. This text says the exact opposite. It is in our weaknesses that Jesus sympathizes with us. His is a love that cannot be held back when he sees his people in pain. Lately, I've been noticing my negative thought patterns. Science is now linking clinical depression with continual negative thought patterns. Surprise, surprise. It's not surprising at all. If you walk around all day saying, I hate my life, nobody really cares about me, and nothing will ever go my way, you're going to feel one way. On the other hand, if your inner dialogue is more like, life is beautiful, I am loved, I feel superbly confident that everything is working itself out in my life, you're going to feel very differently. The Bible does teach us to guard our hearts and minds. It says, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Philippians 4:8. But it's tricky. I can't take my mind out of my head and put it on the shelf for a few hours. So it takes training and discipline. One thing that I found to be very helpful when I have a negative thought is to say dead end. It reminds me that this thought is not going to take me anywhere positive. It's literally a dead end thought. A good friend of mine pointed out that the cross is in the shape of a positive sign. I had never really thought about that. Another very helpful exercise is to simply turn my worries into prayers. The moment I start to worry about something, I try immediately to transform the worry into a prayer. It helps. It really helps. The human heart yearns for something more than this world can offer. That's one of my favorite quotes. I love it because it tells the truth. All of us are yearning for something more. That is why I have to believe that heaven is a real place. In heaven, everything is perfect, and that perfection is holy and eternal. It's not perfect in a way that would be utterly empty here on earth, like the perfect house, the perfect haircut, the perfect outfit. It's supernaturally perfect, and we cannot begin to wrap our little pinto bean brains around this type of perfection. Here's a passage out of a book I'm reading entitled Gentle and Lowly. Thank you, Christy Wilkes. Speaking of perfection, let's remember that even though our Lord was perfect and sinless in every way, he still woke up with bedhead. He probably had pimples at the age of 13. He never would have appeared on the cover of Men's Health. He had no beauty that we should desire him, Isaiah 53:2. He came as a normal man to normal men. He knows what it is to be thirsty, hungry, despised, rejected, scorned, shamed, embarrassed, abandoned, misunderstood, falsely accused, suffocated, tortured, and killed. He knows what it is to be lonely. His friends abandoned him when he needed them the most. Had he lived today, every Twitter follower and Facebook friend would have unfriended him when he turned 33. Only he will never unfriend us. It's been a treacherous few years, I can't sugarcoat it one bit. I'm sorry if you've heard this list 1,000 times, but for those of you who have not, I'm going to repeat it. My best friend died in my arms. I suffered from debilitating chronic pain associated with autoimmune disorders. My son was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and underwent 28 rounds of chemotherapy. My brother-in-law shot and killed a woman by accident. My husband and I separated for 6 months after a titanic fight. My sister had a kidney transplant. My brother was stabbed in the back, literally, by his ex-girlfriend, which left him with a collapsed lung. Uncontrollable fires ravaged through our hometown, followed by terrifying mudslides that killed 28 people. And then there's the recent headline news of my other brother-in-law, which I can't really talk about out loud. And then sprinkle a little COVID on top of all of that. It's been a tornado of grief, pain, and loss, to say the least. There were moments that I didn't recognize myself anymore. I would literally look in the mirror and stare back at myself. I felt unrecognizable. Strangely, I did feel God's presence within me during these trials. I'm going to refer back for a moment to the book Gentle and Lowly. He himself is not trapped in the hole of, excuse me, quiet please. He himself is not trapped in the hole of sin with us. He alone can pull us out. Not only can he alone pull us out of the hole, he alone desires to climb in to that hole and bear our burdens. So think of it this way. He cannot bear to hold himself at a distance from us. Nothing can hold him back. His heart is too bound up with yours. When was the last time you cried? Did you realize that the tear was collected by God? Psalm 56:8, you keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book. The next time you cry, remember the truth that God is collecting every tear in his bottle, the bottle that will never be broken, and he's keeping it right beside him forever. He will never forget your pain, your grief, or your sorrow. I'm overwhelmed with gratitude and thankfulness this Thanksgiving, just being here with all of you, beautiful, amazing ladies. When I look and see what God has done here on Cal Heal, I am truly awestruck. How good is our God? I no longer feel alone in this world now that I have a true network of other believers who aren't afraid to walk me home no matter how ugly things get in my life. A band of souls that pray behind my back and believe in me even when I'm feeling like deep fried poop. I'm scared of letting people see through me. The transparency thing makes me feel naked and vulnerable. But you know what? It's okay because you people are patient with me and love me in spite of my veils and my masks that I have a tendency to put on. What would you think if you saw the real me? The one that doesn't keep things tidy around the house. The one who gets frustrated and pissy. The one who doesn't pray when she should. The one who eats because she's scared and lonely. The one who is at times selfish and unwilling to get out of her comfort zone. The one who questions her faith. The one who doesn't trust God from time to time. That's the person I'm working on letting you all see more. She's the one that I keep at a distance because who would dare to love her? Thank you for daring to love me in the storms, and thank you for choosing time and time again to hold me up when I'm down. Thank you for loving loving me when I feel so unlovable. Sometimes I do feel like damaged goods. So thank you for making me feel precious in your sight. That is something I am not used to. Lastly, I will revert once again back to the book. Consider your own life. How do you think about Jesus's attitude toward the dark pocket of your life that only you know? The overdependence upon alcohol, perhaps, the lost temper, the shady business about your finances that you have not come to terms with yet, the people pleasing that looks to others like niceness, but which you know to be fear of man, the entrenched resentment that bursts out behind in behind the back accusations towards others. Who is Jesus in those moments of spiritual blankness? Not who he is once you conquer that sin, but who is he in the midst of that sin? Well, Jesus is the one who stands and speaks in our defense when we sin, not after we finally conquer the sin, but in the midst of that sin. He speaks for us. He is in defense for us. In that sense, his advocacy is itself our conquering of that sin. His advocacy is in itself the conquering of that sin. Peace of Christ.